Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our first of 5 panel discussions. I'd like to welcome Faisal Al-Sarraj to moderate the panel on Building on Vision 2030, Advancement of Infrastructure Development. Faisal Al-Sarraj is a Saudi consulting partner and PricewaterhouseCoopers. Faisal has 22 years of experience in transportation, strategy execution, process re-engineering, digital banking, and alternative delivery banking channels, focusing on how to move from strategy to execution. And he'll be introducing his speakers. Sir Faisal, the floor is yours.
Delighted to be moderating this exciting session on the advancement of infrastructure development in Saudi Arabia. I'm very delighted and excited to be with this esteemed group of panelists. I'd like to introduce the panelists. We have today with us His Excellency Dr. Ghanem Al-Mohammadi, Advisor to the Minister of Municipality and Rural Affairs. We have with us Mr. Thabit Suwaid, Governor of Saudi Contractors Authority. We also have with us Mr. Tariq Al-Musnad, Engineering Audit Head of KFD. And last but not least, Mr. Yu Tao, CEO of China State Construction Engineering Company. Thank you for being here today with us. Very appreciative of this. Thank you. I'd like to start my questions with opportunities in the infrastructure development. Building an adequate infrastructure is a vital tool for social development, but it's also a crucial underpinning of economic growth. Building on the statement and the Vision 2030, a story of transformation, after almost 7 years in the making, what are the pillars that the government and the private sector should focus on create even deeper impact in the economy, society, and cities development, and finally social development? Maybe I'll start with Your Excellency on your views.
Thank you, Faisal. First of all, I'd like to thank PMI, I'd like to thank everybody, the sponsors and attendees to this valuable session. Your question was, about infrastructure. I'm representing here the municipal sector, and we are talking about infrastructure in cities. We mean roads, we mean stone drainage, we mean parks. In fact, we mean citizens, we mean satisfaction, we mean livability. Currently, probably if you're asking how do we and where are we going, we are trying to take care of roads. The Ministry of the Municipal Sector has built something like 270,000 kilometers of roads. Okay, the share value per capita increased from 3.3 to 3.4. Now it's not about the quantity, but it's about the quality nowadays. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we are maintaining these roads very well. Okay, we will make sure that we are introducing also a decision model that what roads should we take care of? Where do we spend the money? How can we satisfy our citizens? How can we make sure that roads and commuting time are very challenging. We know that there is a lot of people coming to Saudi. There is a big tourism agenda. There is a lot. So we are taking this also into consideration. To do this, of course, we have to go through remaster planning of cities. We have to do some traffic analysis. That's about roads. When it comes to the parks, of course, talking about city, talking about citizen, we have big initiatives. We will continue to do this. How can we make these cities valuable? How can we make it livable? How can we increase, the sustainability of the city also as well? So, and this is also the same thing goes with the storm drainage. How can we prevent it? We develop master plan for each city now, trying to see what are the health spots, what are the danger areas, how can we protect cities. So all of these three issues, the three things, roads, parks, and storm drainage is a very big concern. Okay? And maintenance, nowadays, and quality of the maintenance is what is really we are targeting to have very quality roads. So that's probably the main things in the cities. It's all about the customer, not about the citizen. It's about how do we increase their satisfaction. To do this also, we are always gauging and measuring citizen satisfaction. We know where we are and where we are hitting. That's probably how we're going to implement 2030.
Thank you, Mrs. Maybe a question to Mr. Tab. You work with the private sector and with the contractors, how the contractors. What are the opportunities here? What are the pillars that you will be working on to improve the infrastructure in Saudi in terms of the economy, in terms of the society, in terms of the urban planning and cities development?
Well, first of all, I want to start by thanking the Project Management Institute Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for organizing such magnificent event. Having found this great audience coming from all different stakeholders relevant to projects is an enriching event. I would like to thank them again, and we look forward to have this repeating in the future. And going back to your question, Faisal, I want to take it into two folds. I want to talk first about what has happened in Saudi Arabia for the past 5 years, how the Vision 2030 has transformed the way that we are doing business from what used to be and where we are standing now. The second fold, I will talk about my personal aspiration and where I would love to see this moving forward. If we go backward, there has been a lot of initiative and a lot of changes that were introduced. That has been introduced to Saudi Arabia, and I will name a few of these initiatives. The first one is the establishment of my organization that I'm representing, the Saudi Contractors Authority, which is an authority that was established around 6 years back, with an aim to develop a contracting sector and uplift capability of its workforce. And we have been working since then to develop a lot of these initiatives, and I really invite everyone here just to visit our booth and have a few of what we have introduced so far and where we are heading. Second one is the establishment of another organization which used to be named Mashru'at and recently became part of Expo, which is an organization responsible for the ecosystem of the governmental project. How these projects should be executed, what is the life cycle from the planning, the designing, the contracting, and the construction, as well as handing it over and then operation and maintenance. And they have been working very heavily in developing a very comprehensive methodology to show how each step should be executed by various public entities, which will result into improving the deliverables of our project. Another initiative, the establishment of a higher committee for coordinating and improving the contractor sector, which is headed by His Excellency Majid Al-Hudayr, Minister of Umrah, and contains in it members from various ministries that are interacting into the contracting sector. To name a few of them, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Labor, Saudi Contractors Authority, Saudi Council of Engineers, Umrah itself, Ministry of Commerce, and a few others. And this committee has a lot of plans that have been coordinated together to ensure there is no duplications or overlap, and at which we highlight the key challenges and issues of the sector, and we take it to the committee for actions to be taken. In addition to that, there has been a lot of great initiative to review the government tendering laws and bylaws, as well as the government contracts, which has resulted into few enhancements to these laws to improve and further, satisfy the expectation of these mega projects in terms of delivery, in terms of quality, risk distributions, and so on and so forth. And actually, the list could go on and on and on. I know we could talk about a lot of these initiatives, but I thought to name a few of these initiatives that has happened in the past that are relevant to the infrastructure project. And witnessing personally the changes and progress of these initiatives in the past few years, I must admit that there has been a significant progress that took place, yet there is a lot of expectation that has also put on the table, and we hope in the next few years we see more happening. Now, going back to the second point, looking to my personal aspiration, if I would call it, where can we go with the Vision 2030 moving forward? I think humanizing our cities is a very key aspect. His Excellency Dr. Ghanem has highlighted great initiatives that are being executed by UMRA, and it's highly admirable and people are seeing it. I could also highlight and flash the light on some other interesting projects like Green Saudi Initiative. There is an interesting sport boulevard project which is 135 kilometers, and there is a lot happening, and I believe there could be more chance so we could further improve in this aspect. So this is from a purpose point of view. The second point of view would be on to the delivery itself. How can we capitalize and invest more in the technology side for delivering these projects, which would result into reducing our cost, speeding up the delivery time, and ensuring, of course, the safety and quality of these projects. And there are a lot of initiatives that are technological, that are related to infrastructure projects that we could invest and capitalize. And I'm sure with further focus on this area, we can get. And I would think that the last one, and also Dr. Ghanem has highlighted, is the sustainability. We have a huge transformation. How can we ensure these changes are sustainable in the future? How can we ensure the sustainability is taking place, whether it's from a social part or from an environmental part? I think that would summarize, the history and the aspiration part, and I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. A question to now, how do you see it contributing to the social fabric of the city? How is it going to attract businesses? How is it going to improve that?
First of all, thank you for arranging this amazing convention, and I would like to explain some of the ideas we have in KFD on how we build on our vision for the national level and the city level. KFD is one of the main drivers and contributors in how Riyadh will achieve its goal by reaching the top 10 economic cities in the world, and how the KFD itself integrated with the existing and the future infrastructure assets around the city itself, with the mega project happening around in Riyadh itself, where we interact to each other, and it will elevate how the people in Riyadh are living and how they doing business. So KFD will be one of the main contributors in this aspect of the city, where the target is to elevate and be the main hub of doing business in not just in the country itself, and with the MENA area, where will be the main driver of doing business, living, and entertainment. So it's going to be one of the major contributors in Riyadh national vision of reaching the top 10 goal in 8th economic city in the world.
Thanks. National those major projects happening in Saudi Arabia, business, employment, on bringing investments from abroad. How do you see national firms reacting to this? And what is it that you want to how do you see international firms based on everything that you see in Saudi Arabia from all of those mega projects? How do you see international firms coming and investing in infrastructure development in Saudi Arabia?
As a, yes, sir, thank you. I mean, I'm probably the only newcomer here. China State started operation in the Middle East over the past 20 years. Recently, we just come into the market of Saudi. I feel very excited. We share with everyone a little bit of our company background and the experience. Maybe allow me to go back to our home country, China. 30 years ago, China State was still a normal contractor. One reached the threshold for the Fortune Global 500 company. But we benefit from country's development. And over the past 30 years, we grew 300 times. Today, we made ourselves the number one, the biggest contractor in the world. The investment in the infrastructure and the urbanization of China has greatly benefited the contractor. But more important, improve the quality of the life in China. As China State, we are also one of the biggest international contractors. Personally, I get involved. We built China State South Pacific, become the biggest contractor in Singapore within the span of time of 10 years. And we made Singapore more beautiful. For the past 20 years, I spent most of my time in UAE. I see how UAE, particularly Dubai, convert themselves, become a metropolitan. I think our lesson learned, our experience, can somehow become beneficiary development of Saudi. I hope what we have learned from the lesson will not be repeated. Whatever mistake we have made will not again happen here. I do believe with the Vision 2030, with the commitment from His Highness down to each of the government authority, each of the project team, it is going to create a huge impact. It is going to change the life, and it is going to make the country totally different on the road. I hope also China State will become another contributor. Before I retire, we can build another biggest construction company, one of the biggest construction company in Saudi. Thank you.
My next question. I'll move to my next question about benchmarking and KPIs. If Saudi Arabia is to become the benchmark of infrastructure, what is it that we need to do today to make that shift? Should we focus on global indices? Should we focus on World Bank KPIs or other matrices for that matter?
Thank you. I think this question goes at the heart of management. How can we assure that we can create an impact? I know we apply project management tools all the time, but do we deliver the right project? We might deliver it with quality, we might deliver it on time, okay. But when we touch scope, also, is it the right scope? But the most important question, okay, did it create an impact? So, back to your question, do we adopt international KPIs? Question, yes. We do adopt because we need to be a competitive city, we need to be recognized worldwide that we are. But the question is, when we go to the how are you going to do it? Okay, most of the time, and this is, we share our experience with the audience here. you will have to develop your own KPIs. As for example, okay, when you want to measure, for example, visual appeal, okay, you cannot adopt the Vienna visual appeal, KPIs, but you need to design something specific to Riyadh, something specific to our city. So, in that case, we have developed KPIs especially catered and customized to our country. These KPIs allow you to do your operation, but then, okay, and measure what's your success, new local. But also, you will have to see, the international. The gap between the local, and your own KPIs and the international always give you, okay, a feeder. What are you going to do? Draw an agenda for you to do. So, my advice and this is, okay, based on my experience. You cannot live without, okay, your own personal, your own, local KPIs. And we have, for example, we are measuring, as I probably stated at the beginning, we are measuring citizen satisfaction in terms of, their happiness about solid waste management, their garbage collection, their roads, their commuting time, their greenery, their, malls, everything in the city. We do measure it. We measure it internally, but then when we need to see where our city is going, okay, then we go international. So unless you do this mechanism of going internal and internal KPIs, customized and internal, you cannot have it. So this is what draws our agenda now. So back to the question of clarify, we cannot segregate the KPI. We cannot say we only go international because, okay, you might not be having a working plan to what we are doing in the city. Goes both in the city. That's probably the question. Did I answer the question? Or should I move?
Yes, you did. The question I'm going to is, do you also look at global benchmarks from a Saudi Contractors Authority point of view? Are those on your radar? Do you look at them and monitor and compare Saudi Arabia to other countries in the world?
This is a very good question, Faisal, and I want to highlight the point before going back. If we look to Vision 2030, or just like any strategy exercise, when you do a strategy of your organization, be it a company or be it a country, at the early stage you do an assessment of both your internal and external forces and factors that are affecting what you should be focusing on, or what you are capable of doing, or what you should not be engaged in. And also look into the other, like what they call the best factors, you look into the political, you look into the economical, and other factors. And out of these assessments, you will identify really what matters the most for you as an organization or as a country. And I believe this has been done extensively as part of the Vision 2030 in the early stages. Our leaders has identified really what matters the most for our country, and has identified really the specific objective that we should focus on them, and they have set very aggressive targets that should be met by specific, timelines. Now, having said so, things change with time, and that's where the fine-tuning exercises takes place from time to time. And this is what distinguishes a very successful vision or a strategy exercise from the other way around. And for me, the answer for the international or the local ones, for us, it's already been taken in consideration. The fine-tuning should take place as we go. Now, speaking of the Saudi Contractors Authority, to answer you, yes, we do. In fact, when Saudi Contractors Authority started back in 2016, we developed our first strategy, and it was covering it was late 2016, so the strategy covers 2017 all the way to 2020. A very detailed assessment, not only internally, we have looked into our country, our needs, our challenges. We met with a lot of stakeholders to identify their aspirations and what matters the most to them. But we also looked internationally, and we looked into some of the organizations that are similar in functionality to Saudi Contractors Authority, identified their success stories, identified their focus areas, identified what we can learn from them, and we captured. And all of this were taken in consideration as develop our strategy. In 2019, late 2019, we developed our strategy 2020 to 2024. That's another 5 years, which we are executing at the moment. And once again, we looked to what we have achieved as part of the first strategy exercise, and what is it that we could focus. And we have identified significant changes by only looking to this benchmark. Benchmark is very important because it can tell you as an organization how mature you are compared to others. It can tell you how successful you are in a certain area, and what are the areas that you should. So you would, one way or another, you would preserve the values that you have already created as part of your current work, and also you identify and focus on the potential opportunities. So I see them very important to learn from the success stories and learn also from your own personal success stories.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Tariq, you mentioned that KFT wants to become, Riyadh will become one of the 10 global cities in the world. What are the other KPIs that KFT will be looking at to contribute to this KPI?
I would like first to answer the KPIs internationally and how we can be part of this competitiveness in the market. So, part of doing our strategy, KFT looked at the similar development around the world and the region, and analyzed each of the other developments, their strengths and their weaknesses, and to position ourselves in the right place. So we identify how the other developments works, we identify their strengths and weaknesses, and we develop our own strategy goals and objectives. Aligning it with our national goals and the Riyadh city goals, where we develop our own KPIs and strategic goals with the international best practice. So we have our own KPIs that we develop to reach our local goals and objectives, and how to be competitive in the international platform and the region. We have hyper KPIs internationally and regionally to achieve the local goals, national goals, and international.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. How would you look? I mean, how would you look at benchmarking also from an international perspective? So, when you look at cities like Riyadh, Jeddah, and you want to build an engineering project, construction project, how do you benchmark those projects to other projects internationally?
During my this trip, I've made a visit for the development near Riyadh, EGDA, Area Gate, and realized a building nearly a new town in the city with something like 50 kilometers. And the size of the new is humongous. I never see such kind of ambitious plan in any other place. And beginning, I thought it take a long time to start. But today, I'm sitting here. First of all, I feel very excited. We signed the contract a couple of weeks ago with NEOM, get involved in the line, build a major tunnel cutting across the mountain, and then the mega project development. On the other hand, we realize the kind of challenge. We need thousands of employees, hundreds of management staff. The size of this magnitude of the project, it is rare. We need the client to demonstrate the great leadership, put all kinds of different experts together. We need the consultant come out with the best plan, master plan, concept design, make sense, efficient. not only for the usage, but also for the construction. We need all of them to support us, to allow us to make use of our experience, innovative ideas, to make our construction more efficient and more eco-friendly to achieve the target of zero emission.
Thank you. Let's discuss the strategic partnerships between government of Saudi Arabia and both the private sector and non-profit organizations. How would you assess the level of cooperation between all of them today? And does the private sector have the capabilities today to lead projects related to urban planning and infrastructure development?
Yeah, as far as integrating the private sector, the municipal sector, there is a very aggressive plan that encourage the private sector to be part of the municipal sector. In fact, we aim that the municipal sector could be privatized, partly major with, within the 2030. As for example, when we go to the softest, how are we managing cities? We have a platform called Baladi. Baladi is the platform that issue the licensing permits for building, permits for doors. Yeah, this is probably going to be the first online to be privatized. Also inspection. I think it's always good for the third party and good for others. To participate. When you go also to solid waste, whether it's collection, whether it's landfill, whether it is, so this is a very, good field for the privatization. All efforts has been done so far for these. Also, when you go to the, investment in the land, the municipal land, we signed probably many, joint development agreement with investors. In order to satisfy citizens, to make sure that we deliver good quality, we have to go back first. Why we privatize? It's for two things. Number one is we need to make sure that the quality service. Second thing, we need to make sure that we deliver the right service to the citizens. Condition is it's not put any more burden to the citizens. So the municipal sector, there is big initiatives running. Some are accomplished, some in the middle of the way, but privatization is now this cannot be done just by wishes, but we work into the regulation. We work into, for example, we launched a platform called PURUS. PURUS means opportunity. So every municipality has to launch their business opportunity into the platform, where every single investor can look into it. With a very nice artificial intelligence tool, that will suit who are you, what is the investor requirement, what is the opportunity, and they will match that. And all municipalities, all municipalities are launching their opportunities into this platform for us. This for us is very good to be, privatized sometime. Now, the question is, before we do the privatization, we have to do a lot of fixing things in house. So we try, for example, when we're talking about roads, we need to make sure there's very high quality. So it can be appealing for the private sector or and same thing for any others, parks. We need to make sure that there is nice criteria, nice regulation, due diligence report between the investor and the government. So we are working the detail of it to make sure that it's a win-win, situation. So I think, just as for our citizens, our direction. And based on our studies also, we go into, at the end of the day, not only we are raising the quality, but we assume that we reduce the operation of the city. We're going to reduce probably the CapEx in 2030 by 3 billion riyal, just based on, privatizing this. Somebody will be surprised, how do we do it? They're sure, we try to make sure we only do the necessary thing the right thing and do it right and get the right partner and make sure, okay, that there is a lot of wastage nowadays, for example, in the operations, we make sure we optimize every single process. And so we think, okay, going into this, privatization, going to fix somehow and enhance the municipal system, which will, okay, help all cities, okay, to be valuable, okay, and to be very satisfied the customer. So I think there's a great initiative into this.
Okay, so, Mr. Thabit, from a contractor's point of view, how ready are they to take on such big projects in the kingdom? How do you see that?
I think there has been a major shift in the way the government is working with the private sector. I'll just give a key example. Actually, Saudi Contractors Authority is a non-governmental organization. It's a private sector-led authority, empowered and given the space by the government to exercise and excel in developing and uplifting the contractors. But when we speak about privatizations and partnership between the government and private sector, I think this is a necessity with the ambitious plan that we have in Vision 2030. With these big projects that has to be executed, these huge opportunities that has been announced, tens of trillions of US dollars that will be executed from now until 2030. And in order to achieve that, we needed to have such partnership to take place. And what matters the most is, number one is the maturity of such a partnership. And I believe the privatization law, which was approved by the cabinet, I believe less than a year, is still a new law, and I'm sure what it has will definitely open the space for bigger of this partnership to take place between the private sector and the government in order to execute all these huge projects. Now the question, Faisal, you are putting on the table is, how ready is the private sector? And speaking from the contractor perspective, how can we make sure our contractors move from being an executor to be an investor? How can they uplift their capabilities, have their investment arm, and being able to assess and execute these projects, capitalizing either on their investment capabilities or in partnership with investment houses in order to make the delivery and capitalize and utilize these big cake that are available. And we have been actually working from Saudi Contractors Authority. We start with, first of all, building an awareness. How can we make sure our contractors are aware of these changes? It's something that's new to the market. People has to understand what is in it for them, and how can we help them, not only by just being the awareness, how can we help them uplift their capabilities to be able to participate and contribute into these. And we have developed a very interesting initiative in the past, part of it, awareness campaigns, a part of it, a lot of these trainings and so on and so forth. But what's very interesting, and I would like to highlight it, is Saudi Contractors Authority has, in the past, has launched a very big forum, which is called Future Project Forum. And Future Project Forum, this is the fourth year in a row that we have conducted such a forum. And this year was the fourth edition, and we have over 40 governmental and large private entity participating to showcase their projects for the next 3 years. And in the forum, these 40 organizations shared over 3,000 various projects with a value exceeding 800 billion Saudi riyal, which is more than 230 billion US dollar. Projects opportunity that will be executed in Saudi Arabia for the next 3 years. What we have noticed as well is, year after year, we started seeing more of these opportunities being offered not as an opportunity of project, but opportunity of partnership, being showcased as a privatization opportunity where contractors could take a part of it. And more than 1,500 large corporations in contracting, both local and international, has attended with a very positive feedback. So I believe we needed to do more, to be very honest with you. We needed to build more awareness programs, and I would call it accelerator program for our contractors. There is an initiative that we are working, how can we transform contractors into developers for the housing and for the housing needs. But there is more beyond the housing, so I think from our side, despite whatever we have done, I think there is more opportunities to do more.
A follow-up question on this. Do you feel that the contractors' behavior is changing towards those investments and taking more risk?
I would work for contractors. Contractors are smart. And I believe anybody who's working in contracting sector they have the right guts to be successful company. Whenever there is an opportunity, people will always adopt to it. And what we have noticed, there has been a huge, I would say, excitement. We have large contractors within Saudi Arabia, both local and international. They are really huge contractors. We had in our statistics, we have more than 170,000 of contractors. Almost 1,000, 1% of them is a large companies. Those companies are capable of adopting and participating in these privatization opportunities. So to answer you, yes.
Mr. Tariq, from a privatization point of view, what are the opportunities at KFD today?
KFD is the heart of development in Riyadh. So there is many future opportunities on the table to be developed, where we have areas already developed where there is an investment opportunity coming, and there is other opportunity where the contractors, designers, and the whole project management ecosystem could contribute in. During the next few months, the operating part, we will have different type of contribution from the private sector to the development itself, where we will be operating a world-class business, living and entertainment district, where there will be different type of opportunities for the private sector to contribute in this development. And in the near future, we will have different areas currently undeveloped that will be a future development with the private sector, either investors or contractors. So it's an example of a result of very good coordination and contribution between government entities and private sector, and will be in the future during the development of the property itself.
Thank you so much to you. Again, from an international perspective, how do you see Saudi Arabia still privatization and private perspective, efforts, private?
I think with such kind of ambitious plan, each of the entity have their advantage to participate. Make use of our best strengths and advantage, and certainly go. We are always talking about the new approach of collaboration, and PPP, it is a kind of a very popular topic, always. Years ago, when we talk about the PPP, it's more of the kind of investment approach, where public sector and private sector will come up with certain investment and form the kind of partnership and start to deliver. In today, the circumstance of Saudi, I realized, in fact, the government ready with budget. PAF has humongous of budget is spent. So I do believe the kind of partnership is not very much on the investment side. However, to agree among ourselves how we can get involved and end up to have the kind of trust among ourselves as a team, where when the client start to have the vision, where the consultant start to produce something, if we as a contractor having the kind of trust as a partner by getting involved in an earlier stage of the design or the concept stage, we believe we can contribute. While you are doing your design, we can share with you our lesson learned. We can share with you the good experience and so on. And I think the partnership, it is the key of success. In all these kind of projects we are talking about, it is humongous. The size is far beyond the ability of single entity deliver. So it is a matter of the teamwork. The core of the teamwork, it is kind of synergy we need to produce. And behind the synergy, it is a matter of trust and partnership.
Amazing. Thanks. I'll just move into the last question. It was Times saying, Your Excellency, what do you believe are next steps for sustainable infrastructure development in South Africa?
Before I talk about the last step, seconded the idea. When he's saying that the idea of privatization is not money or shortage of money. I agree 100%. The idea is to deliver to agree what services are we doing to have sustainability, to build our contractor, to build our investors. Okay, so there's more. Perhaps in other countries, the idea is a shortage of money and such and such. I think one of the goals of the privatization is how can we build our own, investors, contractors. How can we make sure we are, measuring the service we are providing to others? So it's a sustainability issue rather than, gap. Now, your question is what do I think going to be the next step? Okay. I'll go also to member perspective. Okay, first we established, alhamdulillah, project management standards, procedures. We go for project and we try to do a stage gate of how are we going to design a project, starting from concept, starting from scope, starting from how we tender it, going to the other stages, how do we control project side, but that's a process issue. But now, the other thing is, I think now we need to be careful where are we spending our money, what are the level of services that we're going to do, our roads, to our parks, and based on this, we'd like to, as probably what we hear today, that we need to be adaptable. I know we issue a plan, I know we have a plan today, I know we are executing, but we need to make sure that we are executing the plan which we have in order to reach the 2030. So we need to be a little bit deeper in monitoring. Not only we go to deeper in monitoring, but we need to be also adaptive. You also plan a project, but things will come. Uncertainty, something. So it depends to how agile you are to build a project. You need to be a thinker. You need to be monitoring closely. You need to make sure also going to the sustainability, even though financial sustainability is built in our system today, but also ecological, any other environmental, we need to build it in. Let's build it in. That's why when we have design, we establish a design review committee. Let's make sure that every aspect that will prevent some sustainability is addressed at the beginning. Saying this, to conclude, we are building capacity among our people. How do we make sure we have the foundation to have project management standard? How do we make sure we build with the right people? How do we make sure we reach the excellence? That's probably the things that we're working on. So, to summarize it, you need to make sure that you monitor, you also adaptable to your plans, sustainability, and make sure the systems work properly. That's the four things I would conclude this.
Mr. Taber, how does the private sector look at sustainability? Do private contractors look at sustainability from the government point of view, or they focus mostly on revenue and profits?
It's usually like a short-term gain, long-term gain exercise. Sustainability is really a very big discussion point, and I really thank you, Faisal, for bringing it up. So I'm not an expert in sustainability, and such a room of big audience and high professional people, I'm sure might be people who are experts. But when you look into sustainability at a higher level, whether it's like environmental or financial or even social, I think from the environmental aspect, and when the government and Saudi Arabia moves towards having zero carbon, targets by 2060, the Green Initiative, Saudi Building Code, which was released almost a year back, which has embedded in it some of the regulation that will ensure the energy efficiency, and we have a lot we talk about from honest. But I want to zoom in a little bit towards contractors, which are our targeted customers, beneficiaries. As Dr. Ghanem highlighted, it's very important for organization to build its own maturity around mature practices. And today we are attending the event that involves around project management, so that's a very, very important area for contractors to ensure that they have great processes and practices for project management that ensures the right delivery of their project, irrespectively of the changes of circumstances. We have just witnessed Corona as a key example, how people should adjust and accommodate for that. But there are other aspects of it that are very important for organization, which is looking for quality management aspect, building a healthy relation between, especially for large contractor, building a healthy relation between the major contractors and subcontractors ensures collaboration, and the contribution of the small contractors are really highly efficient, and the relation is healthy. Looking into the social responsibility aspect, looking into the technical efficiencies and competencies, and the list will go on and on and on. And when you see such an investment is taking place, and actually, sorry, there is one relation visit, which is governance. Having good governance in place for the organization, so we ensure that there is a very well structured mechanism of running the business with distributed responsibilities and risks. So having an organization with such mature practices placed within the I would call it fiber of the organization will ensure that this organization is an organization that evolves and that continue the business, not only for a generation. We have seen companies that lasted for second and third generation, and those organizations which is really invested in having these practices and competencies in place are these organizations that are really having the highest or better revenues compared to their peers. And this is proven actually by international statistics or even by local ones which we have looked into them. And these organizations are the organizations that will last. These are the organizations that has really the right representation or the right image, and which we trust more of the delivery of our project. From Saudi Contractor Authority, we have launched an initiative for licensing, and I really once again I invite the audience to go and visit our booth. They can learn more about it. We have identified 15 specific competencies for contractors, which we will guide them step by step. How can you go from a lower maturity to a higher maturity? And these steps will ensure that you have the bare minimum requirements for each competency model. And that competency model is variant, so it's doesn't, I mean, for the large contractors is different than smaller contractors or medium contractors. Contractors who work in civil engineering work is different than those who work in construction, and so on and so forth. This model has been completed, and it's already now in a trial mode. By the second half of this year, it will be available to all contractors. So there is a very, very well structured, automated system that walks you through from a step to step. And once again, we hope that with that one in place, I'm sure we will have a better position for our contractors, more sustainable. Goes back, we will have better revenues as well.
Great. Mr. Ghanem, how does KFD deal with sustainability? When KFD was built, was sustainability part of the strategy? Was it part of the goals of the KFD?
I would like to say some facts in regards to KFD and system. KFD is one of the major urban developments that is certified LEED, which is the highest certification in sustainability in the world. And there is many buildings within KFD that is certified platinum, gold, and silver LEED within the development. So that said, sustainability is not just a certification or a checklist that we are aiming. So part of the whole life cycle of any development. So our sustainability objectives and targets is part of our KPIs, and the sustainability aspect of each development we do, all life cycle of any development we do is part of our ecosystem. It's part of our KPIs. Reaching the ultimate goal of sustainability, then the company is there, and we have our goals set. And it's aligned with the city and the national objective of reaching sustainability goals. Yes, it is part of our strategic goals and objectives.
My final question is to you, Mr. Rayoub. In China's state construction company, do you also look at sustainability and do you discuss sustainability with your clients and you try to educate them about them when you're doing design engineering projects? I'm saying, do you look at sustainability from your company's point of view and you discuss sustainability with your clients and the design thinking of your projects?
I think the construction process is always taking long. Development process is taking even longer. And find a better solution, as I mentioned just now. I'm a believer in the kind of early involvement of the team members. And years ago, I think more than 20 years ago, Singapore started to promote a design build concept. I still remember how I joined the first forum where we start to share the practice and how we are going to redo the procurement process, how we are going to reposition the restructure the project team. We used to have a client lead the consulting, and after that become the contractor. But from 20 years ago, Singapore Stock Exchange made a lot of design build approach. I still remember in early 2000, I started as a design build project manager. And in the most difficult time, we have achieved all the aspects of the project: quality, safety, and the cost. Nearly there is a good advantage of the design build, where the client will have single point of responsibility. So you will have one guy right in front of you who is the contractor. If he is doing well, that's all his credit. If he is doing poor, they have to be very responsible. So this has changed the whole landscape of the development. In the traditional way, the client will face many different parties, and each of them have their certain responsibility. And there are a lot of interfacing, coordination, and it all becomes the responsibility and the liability of the client. And when we come in as a contractor, we find a lot of things is not fully complete, and we start pointing the problem. Then we start to believe the way the contractor come in is not to contribute, not coming to construct, but I'm coming to point the finger. It's not really the case, but we need to get the problem resolved. So the good part of the design build is once the client have the concept design ready, they pass this responsibility to the contractor, the capable one. Then this guy end up to be responsible for all. So the kind of coordination will be most likely reduced. And in my personal experience, not only in Singapore, but also in UAE, the result is always better.
So much. This was the end of the session. I enjoyed talking to you and informative. I hope that the audience will enjoy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you indeed, our panelists and session moderator.